Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be very different. Today's video I'm going to show you a little speech that I made. This is actually from my mother's funeral. This speech is basically called 7 Things That I Learned from My Mother. And I also want to show you, to help remember this amazing lady, I'm going to show you a little excerpt from a video I recorded of her probably 6 or 7 years ago. Some of the things about her growing up in Japan. She was a kid during World War II, so you know, if you know me a little bit, you may have some interest in this. If not, you know, like I said, not my normal content. But so for whatever it's worth, I hope you enjoy it. Thanks a lot.
誰にもいいわよ。それカメラなの？
Yeah.
やだな。But anyway, I went to I moved to my uncle's house, but there's a bombing site also.
That was that in the towards the end of the war, right?
Yeah,
So you were born what, 1920
1934.
34? Okay, so 1934. So the end of the war you were 11.
Yeah,
Well, you were born February.
I'm
so you
talking
were,
about
So that would have been 9
when
or
I
10
was
years old.
9. Or,
So what was it? Probably 1944 the bombing started. 1940, probably around there, right? It was right at the end, right?
yeah.
So then you guys lived in Tokyo?
No, Tokyo is getting too many too dangerous. So
No, but where did you live before you moved?
Tokyo,
Tokyo. Okay, with your parents.
middle of Tokyo.
And at that time,
So
when at that time also you had how many brothers? Was your one brother was already killed?
one brother and me, because the 2 older brother went to war.
Okay.
The first one,
Hey,
big brother, already dead.
so you had 4 brothers total?
No, 1, 2, 3 だよ.
You had 3 brothers? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And first one, second one went to war, and the first one died in
Hey, can you guys
northern
be quiet? We're going to the room. and recording
northern
this.
part of China.
Then go push it in the other.
The Sophie can listen to me. Baba was about 9 years old.
She was about 9 when they started the
2
bomb.
older brother
bomb-
went to
the bombing happened.
war, and
You understand
one
what she's saying?
killed in action.
She had a brother that died.
And this,
He was shot through the
Then-
hip. He was shot through the hip, right?
ここよ、thigh.
Really? The femoral artery, he bled out.
We don't know too much detail. 30, 40, 44 ぐらいか. But the Tokyo had a very big bombing.
All
And-
B-29s?
B-29.
What did people say the first time they saw that airplane?
Well, people just afraid, but
So it was so big,
many.
right? I mean, it was so much bigger than any
Yeah,
other
yeah.
plane.
And some a small airplane from なんだっけ
Aircraft?
small aircraft
Front carriers? Or...
carrier で I know Japanese, but carrier からこうね and the big Tokyo burned out March, the snowy day. More than 100,000 people died.
This was in March? Mm-hmm. The same, was that the year before the war ended? So like 1944? Or
The
1945?
the year of last
So that would be 1945.
45?
Yeah.
Okay. それなのよ、マーチなのね。Then もう we really, most of women and
And that was
children went to
that was in Tokyo.
countryside. Yeah, the Tokyo bombing すごかった。
So how long did you live in the countryside?
Oh, I lived only 1 year.
One year, okay.
Just,もう lots of rice field なのね。
Yeah. And you went to live with your uncle?
No,
Dad?
my sister's husband brother's place.
Really?
They are so mean. They
Really?
They don't like Tokyo people.
Even
Everything.
during war? Mm-hmm. Wow.
That time, farmer just make rice and not much. Tokyo, the big city people enjoying big city life, so they are envy, I think.
Huh.
And
Didn't you tell me one time that some of the farmers were
yeah,
making people trade their kimonos
Yeah.
for...
yes,
Now, kimono isn't just a dress you buy at the store. It's like, right, handed down from your mother to a daughter.
no,
Or
not much,
no?
not much.
I mean, but it's really, they're really expensive though, right?
But the everyday clothes is not too expensive. But the farmers wants to bury for first class kimono.
Like if it were today, if you were buying a kimono today, you know what I mean? Like today's dollars, how much would that cost?
Depends. A cheaper one could.
Right, but hundreds of dollars?
I never.
Or maybe $500 or...
Oh, more.
Oh, really? $1,000? Really?
More.
And they're making the people trade those in for food?
Yeah.
Wow, for gohan? Okome. Or for
Okome, or mainly sweet potato or potato or some vegetable. The husband came home, see us. Then he asked me, "Do you want to go Tokyo? I want to go Tokyo and see my parents." So I said yes. So he took me and came back to Tokyo. So he bring me Tokyo. And then I stayed in my house. But every day, silence goes on. The airplane coming, so we had to go under the ground or...
Oko. Subway station?
No, we dig up under the house.
Are you serious?
こういうの。
By yourself? I mean, you guys did?
Yeah. Yes.
Really? You never told me that. I assumed you... Was there no
Everybody.
no subways? Or
あ
was
んな
it because
小
it's
さ
too
な
far away?
サブウェイまで行くの大変じゃない。So every house, most of every house had dig up
for
under the...
recording what you just said, it would be too hard to get to the subway. Wow, how big of a space?
Subway は these days subway is not much all over the Tokyo. But a train, lots of train, I took you guys to the station sometimes.
Yeah.
あそこよ。あそこまで 10 minutes walk じゃない。
Okay, so it's
But
too
anyway, my
far. How big
brother...
was the area you guys dug out under the house?
Eh?
How big was the space under the house?
Just
About the size
smaller
of the dollhouse?
than kitchen.
Really? Well, bigger than the dollhouse?
About twice. But anyway, go in. No denki, no lights or anything. Just. But that was, to me, more dangerous. But anyway, go in and then announcement come. The airplane gone, so we come up. In and out every day. Daytime, sometimes small airplane from the sky. If they see people walking around.
Wow. Really?
So we...
People, not soldiers. They were shooting civilians.
Yes.
Wow. I didn't know
So so we went to closet, lots of stone piled up, stick head with. But then August 14, my father couldn't get the ticket to take me to countryside, so we still waiting to get all kinds of way to get the ticket, but I couldn't. Then summer day, August 14, my father, I think, just stroke, I think.
Really? Mm-hmm. You said he died in his sleep?
No, he not asleep. In the morning, he said, "I'm feeling so bad." Then went to stone like that. Then うーっていうふうにして。
Wow.
I was standing with him, but
Really?
nothing to do. My mother cannot do anything.
Wow.
So 1 minute or 2 minutes dead.
Wow.
So, but everything moving out from Tokyo, we have to look for the funeral, but of course we can't do. But put
Because it was too busy, or why? What kind of?
nobody too busy. But the next day, I went to I and my cousin took me to there, ちょっと out of Tokyo to get their food. More already my father died. But anyway, the close relatives or neighbors coming, so we have to cook something and give it to them. So we went to get food. Then on the way, noontime, train stop, and everybody have to get off the train and listen to the radio. Then the emperor said he decided we surrendered.
You heard that speech?
Yes.
You remember it?
No,
Have
I
you ever
couldn't
watched it?
understand so good.
Oh. Have you ever watched it since? Have you ever watched it on TV?
TV なんかないわよ。
No,
We
but I
didn't
mean today, like since. Have you ever watched that speech?
Yeah, a couple times it's TV, so TV で radio なの old radio box. But I couldn't understand. These days, 10 years old, 11 years old is not smart like these days kids.
Oh.
But
Do you remember what people did? Were people happy, sad?
Of course, that I
Weren't some people
understand.
glad it was over?
No, none of them glad. Just to lose mind and sad.
Wow.
Then we came home and
So your dad, I know you
my
told me this.
dad laying on the floor. My mother cannot do anything.
Wow.
Even
So was that August 14th?
for the next day, like the 15th. Then we hunt the casket.
Wow. Which was probably hard to find, right?
Very hard. But finally, couple days, finally found it. Then we have to take it to the place to cremate. But they have tons of body line up.
Really? Wow.
So we have to leave him there. Then anyway, was over. No more silent goes or anything. But don't know. Everybody like not cannot. I don't know what to do. Everybody.
So then the Americans occupied, right? American soldiers.
Yeah, maybe 1 month later or something, but everybody's scared. Americans occupying, coming Yokohama, next city, Tokyo no next, because their port, Yokohama port があるから lots of Marines come up. So everybody is scared, gonna kill us or rape us, especially young women. Put the dirt or suit,
Really?
and walk like an old lady とか.
Wow.
Everybody's so scared. But
They were reasonable, right?
yeah, more than reasonable, and so quickly the young lady, no food, no clothes だから kinda their the American GI gives them gum or chocolate or everything, and some are so nice. Japanese men doesn't treat too good women, but the Americans are so nice. So lots of people married.
Huh. Really? I didn't know that. Wait. Hold on. You said at that time? Hey, girls, could you keep it down, please? Sophia, could you keep it down? So you're telling me the Japanese men did not treat women very good then?
Well, some are raped or everything, bad things happen, but the most of the GIs are nice,
Nicer.
and it's
The Americans were nicer than the Japanese to the Japanese.
well,
I think I see what you're saying. Wow.
it was like lots of people married with GI. Of course.
What they call that, war brides, right?
Yeah. たくさんいたよ。
Wow.
みんなこの辺だっていっぱいいたんじゃな。
Yeah.
Oh, then I and my sister and two babies. I carried Kyoko. My sister carried the boy Katsutoshi. He died later. But went to finally get the ticket. And my brother together. だからwe have to go back to the countryside because everything over there.
To get your stuff, you mean?
Is, So anyway, we went back. And then my brother just came home, and he was quickly learned English and kind
Now,
of.
where was he during the war?
He was a student. だものまだ。
Oh, really? Well, you had one brother that died, one that was too young to fight. What about the other one?
He was in どこにいたんだ？満州、China.
Oh, really?
And Russian came in. Russian declared war against Japan a week before war's over. 確か very short time they declared war. They know Japan gonna be surrender. So they took northern part of island, small islands. They took from us and never returned.
Right.
Also, many soldiers they took from Soviet, to Manchu or China, captured and take it to Russia, and they POW でしょ POW. They use winter time. They have to cut the tree. Many soldiers died after the war was over.
Wow.
And my brother, luckily, they are looking for somebody can carve wood. They're building.
So he was a prisoner of war after the war in Russia.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow. Check out, this is a cool story, Aaron.
2 years ぐらい he never.
Wow.
No letter or anything, so we are very scared. I thought we lost him.
Wow.
But he was somebody carving. He is deadly honest guy, but he said yes.
But so the Russians were asking for people that were good wood carvers, and he said, "I can do it," but even though he'd never done it. Wow.
That's the
Survival.
dead or survived. If he's honest, he used to honest, and if he doesn't go there, dead.
Wow.
And then carving, they did. I don't know how he did, but anyway, he survived. Then they're making some theater, small one. Then they want to somebody play, and he played the guitar long time when he was young. Anyway, he didn't have heavy labor.
Uh-huh.
But it takes more than 2 years and came home.
Wow.
But then he's well fed and okay なのね。何食べたいの？ Shelby 何食べたいの？ Then それからなんだ。Then I'm start middle school.
Yeah. Tell us about the food. You told me stories about them giving you guys food and the
food.
corn.
Terrible.
Tell us about the cornbread story. The
Cornbread,
cornmeal.
Cornmeal came, big can, こんなの。
Yeah. What else?
Butter, big chunk of butter, like a margarine, I don't know. Cheese.
Now, had you ever had any of those foods before
Cheese
that?
we didn't know.
Yeah. Really?
Some people soap だと思っちゃった。
No way. The cheese? No. What did you guys do with the margarine?
Margarine. We made cornbread and flour mixture bread. We made even container. Container. Then
What did you make the container out of?
aluminum こう
Really? Wow.
And すごいもん食べた。
Was it
Especially-
bad? Was it pretty bad? No sugar? Or yeast?
They are 少し sugar とか
So-
match も very short.
So, but how did the bread taste? The cornbread.
まずいまずい。
Mazui means very, yeah, bad. Didn't you tell me though? Then, for after you married Papa for a long time, you thought you'd never eat cornbread.
So I thought, no, thank you. But actually, American cornbread are good because butter, sugar, everything in it.
But you would never try it for how long?
No, well, every month probably better よね。August 15には終わったのよ。But before August 15, the atomic bomb dropped
Right.
Hiroshima.
Right.
That time,
Was it? I think that was what, August 6th and then August 9th. I think. Right.
right.
A couple weeks before.
Well,
A week
I
before.
think I stayed home, but we didn't know.
You
not
couldn't
much.
see it, right?
No, it's too far away and nothing. But just a rumor.
What did people say?
I don't know, because I was kids.
Okay.
Just hunt for the everyday food. Then second Nagasaki. Nagasaki or
Shelby.
福岡、桃井さんのとこ。長崎or 福岡、もう一つ金沢。They had the three place to thinking second bomb. But the only Nagasaki was fine. Weather was suitable.
Right.
Other two are cloudy or something. So they dropped Nagasaki.
Right.
Otherwise, Momoe-san のとこに
Wow.
落ちてた。But Momoe-san wasn't born yet. So Kyushu was a target.
Wow.
But to me, if Tokyo had a big bombing springtime, early spring, March, many people died. After that, Japan should surrender, and Japanese armies had the power. Emperor doesn't have any power or anything.
Really?
So I don't blame for him, but military should be, if they surrender March or April, so America don't have to have two big bomb, atomic bomb.
Right.
Then after second, then
I know the
they
U.S. was thinking if they had to do a traditional invasion of Japan, I know they were thinking more Americans would die
right.
in the Japan invasion than the rest of the war.
Yeah.
And they were thinking, what, 500,000 or 1 million soldiers or something. So
Your papa always saying, and
He's doing it here.
I know lots of, I still remember lots of war things because I was 10,
right.
11. You know,
Pretty much all the men of the fighting age were drafted, weren't they? Like Zembu? All of
no,
them?
no.
No, really? I would have thought all the fighting age men would have been.
Well, カレッジプロフェッサーとか偉い人は、
Okay.
行かないでしょ。
That means rich, right? Or upper class.
Upper class, top class.
So the professors and upper class people didn't get drafted.
Right. Professor, I'm not sure.
Okay, but I get the idea. Yeah.
But there's
pretty much
all
what
kind
all
of
the younger-
politicians connections or
But I mean, but weren't most of the young men drafted then?
いったね。
Yeah.
Drafted or volunteered
Right.
16, 17が行ったよ。
Wow. Wow.
みんなon a small airplane, they carry one big bomb and they don't have on the way home fuel, just
Yeah,
a half
kamikaze.
tank that go
Kamikaze,
to
yeah.
kamikaze. So.
Yeah. Wow.
But some way after World War over and occupied, American occupied, we are lucky. If Soviet occupied more big island or some other
Uh-huh.
place, would have been more.
There would have been some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The America, I think, is kind of nice to.
I remember there was more racism towards Japanese when I was a kid. You know?
In Japanese society.
No, here in America.
So.
You know? You don't hear people making fun of Asian people like they used to when I was a kid.
Because
Jap,
no,
you know, they would call me that
yeah,
in grade school.
yeah, 言われたね、ローラも。Their parents saying, "Oh, Jap."
Right.
Before war start, the lots of hard worker Japanese immigrant to get U.S. Hawaii もそうカリフォルニアも lots of people immigrant.
Right.
They had a hard time to melt.
Right.
Never melt maybe. Jap.
Yeah.
But they're hard worker and most people did high educate. Those people okay, but still.
There's a lot of that I've never heard before. So there's 3 or 4 things in that story I've never heard before.
Well, I don't want to remember those days or.
Right.
My family are not high class, so.
Yeah.
So I am happy with Papa, married Papa.
Yeah.
He's an honest guy.
Yeah.
Most of things I want to do honest to people.
Mm-hmm.
And
How did you guys meet? I know he was working in Japan, but how did you meet?
my friend lived the same apartment, Papa. And she said he's too inakape, country boy there. Not my type. I mean, couple times I went to date, but then it's not my type. That he's a good guy, だから and first class company.
Oh, yeah.
She really wants me to match. I'm getting older now. Come to think, wow, 36, 7, almost 40. Nobody. I'm afraid that I can't find anybody. So
No way.
my parents
Wow.
gone already,
Uh-huh.
and easy. But my brother was kind of mad.
Oh, really? Gaijin?
Guys.
Marrying a gaijin.
But
What does gaijin mean? Gaijin, is that just means
Foreigner.
American? Foreigner? Okay, that doesn't mean American.
No.
I thought gaijin meant American.
Now,
So gaijin could be a Russian, gaijin could be English?
Yes.
Really? I didn't know that.
English, French, or these days Puerto Rican or Jamaican, everybody. またこんな顔撮ったってしょうがないじゃない。もうやめなさいよ。
Arigato.
I really appreciate all of you guys coming here today. This was obviously fairly short notice, and it would be easy for somebody to miss this even, just because it was less than really 48 hours. So I really do appreciate you guys coming and staying. And Mom battled cancer for 27 or 28 months, and she was really pretty healthy for the majority of it until really the last month, really even the last few weeks. But rather than focus on how she passed, I want to give you 7 life lessons that my mother gave me. So, the first thing I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you the lesson and then what the point is afterwards. So, Scott, I'm so glad you said that, right? Because you're exactly right. If you had ever been to my mother's house, unless you specifically said, I'm only here for a few minutes because I have to leave, she fed you, pretty much, right? So the only reason she probably wouldn't is she really didn't like you, and that's probably only a handful people on the planet that wouldn't get food. Or like I said, if you were specifically in and out and leaving. But other than that, you got fed. Whether it was fruit, whether it was a snack, there was something that got put out on the table for you. She was always willing to help somebody and serve them in the way that she was most capable of doing. Scott, do you remember what kind of fruit it was? Was it an orange or an apple? But if it was an apple, it was peeled, dipped in salt water so that it wouldn't turn brown. It's not enough to make it taste salty, and it was skinned. I can tell you this, I was in my mid-20s before the first time I ever consumed an apple with the core. And I remember the person I was working with standing next to a guy named Matt, and I was looking at this thing with trepidation, like, should I bite it? And he's looking at me like I'm insane, like I've never eaten an apple that wasn't sliced up. Apples to me came in a plastic bag, and by the way, not a Ziploc bag because they're too expensive. It was in one of the fold-over sandwich bags, tied in a knot so it wouldn't leak. First 25 years of my life, that's how I ate apples. The first thing she taught me was kindness. That's number 1. Number 2, having productive, positive beliefs and then acting on them. And I'll give you the best example of that. Education, studying hard. The fact that you would study hard, you would prepare for something and work, and then that you would get results from that. Another way that she taught us that, other than drilling, I'm sure my children can tell you, right? How many conversations has she had with you that you have to, study hard, you have to do this, you have to do that. But outside of that, another one was her gardening. And if you look on the program itself, you see it's at the edge of the picture, she's holding or pointing to a squash. I think it's a Japanese squash, isn't it, in that photo? Unfortunately, I don't think Laura nor I inherited her green thumb. I think the bonsai tree is coming back. I'm holding, hope for that. But she showed me through all of those things. She showed me point number 2, which is devotion. That's the second quality that she unknowingly or purposely passed on to us. Number 3, I didn't realize it at the time, She gave us the best food first, right? As we are supposed to give the best of our right results to God. But she always gave us the best first. The favorite meal of mine that she ever cooked was gyoza. Now you kind of actually can get gyoza like you can get sushi in a grocery store. They're those little white fried pork dumplings, right? They're kind of like half moon shaped. But hers didn't come from Giant Eagle. Hers, she would buy the special, that's not a tortilla, but it looks like a little round tortilla in a pack of 50 or 100. She'd get that, I believe my family has a recipe, I don't know, but it's 2 kinds of meat, pork and something else, beef, pork and beef, like Asian green onions or something like that. It's all handmade. Each one, you had to dip your finger in water, fold it over, and one side, not both sides, one side of the gyoza is pleated. Now hers are special. You can get fried gyozas that are crunchy, as we had a couple nights ago, right? They're decent. You can get the ones that taste more like they're steamed. Those are nice too. That's the Giant Eagle version. But I've never had one that's like hers where it's pan-fried, crispy on the bottom. She pours water in the pan and covers it to steam the top. You get the crunchy and the steamed all in one. They're the best on the planet. She would make those, a couple hundred of them, I'm guessing, and she would fry up 25, 35, 40 of them at a time, bring you a hot plate, and we'd consume them like our dogs do, you know, right, the dinners. Then, about the time you get to the last 1 or 2 and we're fighting over them, a fresh plate would show up. And it wasn't until later in my life I'd realize my mother's not eating. We would have to later on, do you remember that? We had to stop and say, stop cooking, sit and you eat. This isn't a restaurant. I was ticked off. Now this is going to sound really arrogant, but this is the truth. I used to be so sick and tired of having to eat at home. Like, we weren't allowed to go to McDonald's. How many times a year, Laura, did we go to McDonald's when we were adolescents? That's why when I got my first job at Taco Bell, I would eat 5 meals in a row at Taco Bell. It was such a treat to have, right, you know? She made us eat like shrimp and filet mignon. How awful that was, right? The delaying of her personal gratification for us and for our future. The third lesson she taught me was sacrifice. Number 4. I remember driving an 85 Olds Cutlass. I think that was before Ken and Brent, before I met you guys. It was a 4-door, awful 4-cylinder car. That car didn't have an FM radio. He would continually buy a 1-year-old car. It looked nice on the outside and was reliable. It had no FM. Next, we moved up to an 88 Buick Regal. And recently, Laura and I were talking. We both wrecked that vehicle. I was dodging a deer, okay? So 88 Buick Regal, it had FM radio but no stereo. Does anybody here remember, Al, do you remember riding around with that thing with the boom box in the back seat because it didn't have a tape player, a cassette player? You remember that car? The black Buick Regal? And I believe you were with me when I wrecked that, weren't you? Yeah, he was in the back seat or passenger seat. I'm not going to say it was his fault, but... and as I said before, we never ate out. I mean, it was literally probably 3, 4, at most 5 times a year we would even get fast food, right? Through all those lessons, and then through that, she taught me lesson number 4, which is frugality. Number 5, and this is kind of a result of being frugal, even though she wouldn't eat out, even though they were penny pinching, they sent me to a private high school, which it probably took me till my 20-year high school union to really appreciate Walsh Jesuit High School, right? And without that, I wouldn't have met Al, right? We wouldn't have been able to go on joyrides. A private school for me, medical school for Laura, right? I was going to say, Laura's the smart one. I guess I'm not the good-looking one or the smart one. I guess I'm the heavy-lifting one, right? You know, so however that works out. But the point is, studying for Japanese school. We went for a couple years on Saturdays to Japanese school. And my Japanese has gotten actually pretty decent here in the last couple, 3, 4 months. And I'm going to miss that. But the point is, number 5, value number 5, lesson number 5 she taught me is to invest in yourself and in your future, both financially and in things that are going to benefit you long term. And that's a lesson she unknowingly instilled in me. Number 6, my mother's father, his name was Matsunosuke. I came this close to having that as my middle name. My sister got a pretty cool middle name. Mikiko is like, right? Kind of a cool, hey, Asian, you know, it's like Asian cuisine, a little American, a little Asian. That's cool. Matsunosuke, man, I got beat up enough. You know, thank God they didn't name me Matsunosuke. But her father, Matsunosuke, actually passed away from a stroke the day before World War II ended when she was 11 years old. So you think about this for a minute. Died the day before the war ended. The war ends, the country's in ruins. They had to move to the countryside because there was bombing. I don't know if any of you got to watch any of that video. They moved to the countryside because of the bombing in Japan, and she just told us this recently. I knew that, but I didn't know that they lived near one of the Mitsubishi Zeros, the airplane, the A6M0. They lived near one of the A6M0 factories, which is a key thing that they wanted to destroy, right? The ability to produce warplanes. They moved to the countryside, and that was a time where farmers, if you've ever seen a kimono, it's a beautiful silk dress they would wear on a special occasion, and it looks like it kind of has a parachute, right? You know what I'm talking about. The farmers were trading those for bags of rice. It would be like trading your family heirloom dress that cost thousands of dollars for food. That's what the time that she lived through. What she taught me, having a positive attitude after being through that, lesson number 6, was to be grateful. Number 7, I'm going to tell my favorite mom story, and there's probably a bunch of you here who have heard this story at least a dozen times. Lesson number 7 comes later. This was probably 10 years ago, I'm guessing. Lesson number 7 came when my wife approached me and said, Bob, right? The rice, take a look at this. And my wife was kind of freaking out. I looked in the rice, and there was the typical white grains of rice. By the way, I've never purchased rice in my life, ever. Rice in my household comes in a bag from my mom's house, so I'm not sure quite what I'm going to do now, you know. We're down to what? Probably 40 or 50 pounds, I think, is all we've got left right now. But my wife showed me the rice, and there's all the typical white grains of rice and a few black ones. It's like, that's strange. Rice shouldn't have black grains of rice. I thought maybe they didn't get, you know, the outer coating didn't get scrubbed off, but I thought it was brown before. And we pulled a few of them out, and they were actual little tiny dried black bugs. Just here, there, you know, I mean, if it was mine, I probably would have picked them out and, you know, gone forward. But she was freaking out, so we immediately called my mother to tell her this catastrophe that had befallen the okome. By the way, okome is uncooked rice. Gohan is either cooked rice or a meal. There's another lesson. Rice is so important in Japan, they have a different word for the uncooked version and the cooked version, and the cooked version is the same word as you could use for an actual meal. It'd be like saying, let's go eat burger, and burger means lunch, right? But back to the story. We called my mother and explained to her we need another new bag of rice because this one has little dried dead bugs in it. Anybody heard this story know what my mom's response was? What was her response? She goes, yeah, bring it over to my house. I'll give you mine. I'm like, no, Mom. Like, you don't understand what I just said. There are dead bugs in it. She goes, I heard you. We used to eat that all the time in Japan. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to get zapped with lightning by saying that my mom is like a badass. I'm like, yeah, my mom taught me number 7, which is mental toughness like none of us have. I had to tell her, by the way, those last weeks, not to talk about to you kids that she's going to die. I'm like, Mom, you can't say that in front of me. She goes, what's the big deal? I've seen dead bodies. I'm like, that's not normal. My mom was extremely, number 7, mentally tough. Those are the 7 life lessons that even though going through all these, now in hindsight, I don't know that I really enjoyed any of them. I look back now and say, how ungrateful was I to have to suffer through eating filet mignon? I don't think my mom's ever cooked a sirloin steak, right? You know, I didn't realize, and you go and buy it. I mean, so how often do you get filet? Like once in a blue moon, you know? But all these lessons can be difficult when we're going through them, but I'm just really, really thankful for everything that we had with my mother, and especially seeing God's hand here in the last few weeks with the timing of things, even though she passed and it was horrible. But having my sister there was a blessing. The kids, how often does this happen? My sister's kids, this week is their spring break. My kids was last week. but they've gotten to spend the entire week together. And Monday, because the power went out, it wasn't a snow day, the power went out, they shut school down, and they got to spend another day together. And I really believe God's hand was in this, and I just feel really, really blessed to have had a mother around for 89 years. And I really feel blessed to have you guys share this moment with me. Thank you very much. The suit I chose for this occasion is a black with red pinstripe Hickey Freeman suit that I thrifted for $30. The shoes are my new Cobbler Union Richard cap-toe Oxfords. They do feature fiddleback waist. The shirt is a Roundtree and York with French cuffs and a matching tie to kind of go in with the, the dark red color. Probably doesn't matter what I wear in some sense, but this was important to me. I certainly know my mother would be more worried about how much I spent on what I wore than it actually being appropriate, but the shoes are ox blood, so I'm kind of breaking a little bit of a rule as far as black, but I think it's appropriate because they're dark enough to be formal. But, this is a special day for me and I wanted to honor her. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, go to my YouTube page, Robert Powers, and then click on Playlists.